What's up everyone? So I haven't done a cooking video for you in a while. I've mostly done music, so I figured I'd mix it up this week. Today I am making sourdough bread because that's what everybody decided to do in the quarantine, was start making their own bread because, well, it's like the apocalypse now. So here we go. All right, so I got my ingredients ready. So here's the mixing bowl that I'm going to be using. I have a cup and a half of lukewarm water. I'm going to be doing 5 cups of flour, 1 cup of sourdough starter, which this is what sourdough starter looks like. It's all bubbly and weird and gross looking, but it tastes delicious. I mean, not by itself, but when you make it into bread. And the way you make starter is like you take 4 ounces of flour and like a 1/4 cup of water, and you mix it up, and you keep doing that each day, and you just leave it out. And then it becomes like naturally like bubbly and stuff. And so you just keep doing that. And then once you do that for about like 5 days and it becomes like ready to go, it's you only have to do it once a week, and you just leave it in your fridge. And then I've been actually feeding it. That's what you call it, is you feed it flour and water the last few days, because I was gonna make bread. 2 teaspoons of active yeast, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. So I'm gonna put that all in the bowl real quick, and we'll move on to the next part after that. All right, so I got all my ingredients in a bowl now. So what I'm gonna do is mix it by hand, and I will do that, and I can't do that and the phone at the same time, so I'm gonna stop the video again. All right, so now I have this lump of dough on a floured board, and the fun part now is I get to knead it for 20 minutes, which kneading I'll show you, and I'll probably put on a time-lapse video because you don't need to watch me do this for 20 minutes. So yeah, so here we go. Okay, so now after, it was actually more like 15 minutes, but still 15 minutes of kneading, I'm going to take my dough and I'm going to put it in my trusty Dutch oven, and then I'm going to cover it so no bugs get in there. And I put paper in here because I've actually been having issues with it getting a little too crispy on the side, so I'm hoping the paper will help with that. But now I have to let it sit for about an hour and a half. So I'll be back in an hour and a half to start baking this guy. As soon as I'm done kneading the dough, I usually go back to feeding Bertha, which is what we named our sourdough. So as you can see, there's a lot of empty room in there now. There's still the original starter in there. So what I'm gonna do is that I have a scale, but I believe it's like 1.25 cups or something like that if you were to do like measuring it, but you can double check that. But I'm gonna turn my scale on. I have it set to ounces, so I need to, as I fill it up, just flour. Okay, so I'm at 0.5. 1.3. Halfway there about. Okay, maybe one more scoop. Yeah, just a small scoop. Just a little bit more. Oh, it's pretty low. Okay, and then, so I did just a little extra because I was a little low. And I'm gonna go ahead and do 1/2 cup of water, And then now I gotta mix all of this up. And yes, it is gross to look at, but again, if you want delicious sourdough bread, this is how you do it. All right. And believe it or not, so this is about like half full now, and I'm just gonna let it sit out till tonight, and this jar will fill up because all the bubbles in there will make it like double in size. It's kind of crazy. It's like a weird, gross science experiment that makes bread. But that's how you feed your sourdough starter when you're done using some of the starter to make your bread. All right, so here's my bread. It's doubled in size. I'm gonna be baking it at 375. It's doubled in size, so I'm gonna put the baking at 375. And then I'm gonna put it in the oven with the lid on. Okay. And I'm gonna set it for 45 minutes. And a lot of baking, you would preheat the oven, but in this case, you're not gonna preheat it. You're just gonna put it in there and it'll warm up with the rest of it. But that's pretty much it, and I'll show you the bread when it's all ready to go. All right, so after 15 minutes of prepping the materials, weeks of making the sourdough starter, which isn't that hard, but still it's time consuming. 20 minutes of dough kneading, which you saw in that time-lapse video. Hour and a half of it sitting in the pot, 45 minutes of it cooking in the pot, and this is the result of my labor. So it seems like the parchment paper worked, so it doesn't look too brown on the side. So I am pretty happy with this, but if you have any questions about World Lit or bread making, because apparently that's something I do now, let me know and I will hopefully be able to help you. But see you guys. Thanks for watching.
Just a few moments to live. No remorse for what I did. It's for the better.